some new research out about how screen time affects your children, and here to talk more about it is Andrea Eldridge from Nerds on Call. Andrea, I hope what you brought with you today is something that'll make me feel less guilty about all the screen time I end up giving my kid.
Yes, and I think a lot of that guilt comes from the American Academy of Pediatrics and their recommendation, which is all tied to time. Basically says that if you've got a kid between 2 and 5, you need to limit it to an hour. Older kids have to have consistent limits. It's not to say that it's bad information, but some studies that came out this year said it's not actually all of the information, which is really actually helpful. So University of Oxford interviewed 20,000 parents of kids aged 2 to 5. And they found that it's not so much about time as what they're doing with their device. And if as a family you can actively engage with that technology use, it's actually really beneficial to their happiness, to their well-being. So when we use our digital devices as a babysitter, not so great. I know, we all have to at some point in time, but if you can actually do video game play with your kids, have kind of a modern game night, if you can get yourself to actually watch their crazy YouTube channels with them. It's the engagement with technology that makes it beneficial to your family time. So you don't have to feel guilty about screen time if you're using it as a way to connect with your kids.
You just have to do it with them. And yes, I'm not a cartoon person.
I know,
so
I
don't know.
Well, get creative about engaging with them. So this one actually, Penn State College of Medicine did a study where they interviewed 234 parents of kids 8 to 17. And this was about devices in the bedroom at nighttime. And they found that letting your kids have devices at bedtime significantly reduces their sleep quality and quantity. It also is a lot more likely that they'll use that device in the middle of the night. So it can also, in fact, they found a direct association between technology access at bedtime and increased body mass index. So lots of negative things about having devices, TVs, stuff like that in your kid's bed at night. So make your bedroom, your kid's bedroom, tech-free zone. I know we all probably know this one, but a good trick for this is make a charging station out in a public area. Have that be part of your bedtime routine. You plug everything in before you go to bed and give your kids the best chance to get some sleep. So that's probably an easier one. Now let's talk about screen time addiction, because that's something that we're starting to hear more and more about. And I know as parents, you go, well, gosh, how do I know if my kid's got a problem with technology? University of Michigan did a study where they looked at 4 to 11-year-olds and said, okay, so what exactly is it that's a predictor of a child that's having a problem with screen time? Found it's not so much about how much time they spend on that device as what they do with it and how they interact with it. So some of those warning signs would be when it's time to take it away and your kid has a temper tantrum and cannot handle having that device time end. That's a sign that maybe they really aren't handling their screen time well, regardless of how much time they have. If it's the only thing you can use to motivate them, it's the only way to get them to brush their teeth is 5 minutes of cartoon time, it's kind of a red flag. If it's all they think about, if it interacts and interrupts family time to where you're not having time together doing fun activities anymore, if they sneak it, kind of like any addict, if they're sneaking their time, that's not a good sign. So any of these things are basically, regardless again of how much time they have with their devices, an indicator that you need to restrict that time further and really put more healthy limits on your kids if they're not limiting themselves.
Okay, I need to be more present. Andrea Eldridge, thank you so much.
You're welcome.